Okay, so check this out. Like I was saying yesterday, like I've been saying, and like I said uh, yesterday, just recently, the most recent, about how the government fucks with me, how they try to thwart my what I'm doing, my efforts. Look, they know that I'm a light worker. We've gone through this whole thing with them so many times before, since over the course of 10 years now. Now, I came across Donald Trump. I tell the story all the time. Back in 2015, I know that they was on board with me in 2017, still on board with me in 2017. I came across some news going on in Austin, Texas. They were shooting something over there. There were journalists out there and everything. I came across there. I had all kind of shit on me, like a gun, a fucking retractable baton, a taser, and knives, all kind of shit. It's a long story why I had all that shit with me. But I started saying some shit over there while they had the news. It's over there. It's like major news out there, all the channels and shit, you know. And I had a very suggestive shirt on of Whitney, Wisconsin, the thumbnail for 10 Reasons Why. I don't want to say the rest of it, but I guess you could look it up if you care to look it up too. But 10 Reasons Why every woman should have a dog as a companion. I went and had it done at the mall. I took the picture, had it on my phone, which is what I'm trying to get at right now. Something about my phone. And I went into the mall down there in Austin, Texas. I had to put on my shirt, and I had some other suggested things. I had Alice in Wonderland in the back, Whitney, Wisconsin in the front, and a few more motifs of, nothing R rated or X rated. No, certainly not X rated, but had Alice in Wonderland in the back with a leather jacket and handkerchief on, with that inquisitive look that she has, that iconic inquisitive look she has when she puts her hand up or finger up there to her face. She says, At that time, I was just looking for answers, for the most part. That's all. I was just looking for answers, from whomever could give me the answers, offer me the answers. So I thought that shirt would be a good way to say, hey, I'm out here. I'm in Wonderland right now. I'm trying to figure something out about this little thing. So if you don't mind, lay something on me and help my mind out a little bit. Help me navigate Wonderland. Anyway, I'm trying to impress that upon you, that I want you to know that I'm not just pulling this out of out of thin air. All this stuff happened. I can get very descriptive and very detailed about it. Kind of like what is her name? April. April over there's got her channel over there, YouTube. Blonde hair, April something. I'm a little flighty. I'm a little forgetful right now, but April something. I'll put them in the description when I go and find it. She's always going on about things, right? Now I look at it like this. She's like this morning. I looked at one of her videos. I'm gonna digress a little bit here from what I was talking about, but it all comes to make a point. So this morning I was looking at one of her videos. Per usual, makes no apologies for what she's saying. She doesn't go into whether it's crazy or sounds crazy or not, whether you think she's crazy, or none of that. She just gets in there and just starts talking about it, matter of factly, just very frank or whatever the case. Matter of factly, like, yeah, and this is how it is, blah, blah, blah. And she moves on without an explanation of, yeah, I know that would sound like I'm fucking nuts. But my point is, when she gets into it, what she says, the way she says it, she imagined that very vividly. And I don't know the way that she would have imagined it. She knows the difference between it was a dream and now she's awake, and that was a dream and this is reality. This is not whatever reality happens to be, but this is a waking state, not a sleeping state. She could be so flippant psychotic that she imagined all these things. Like she's going on about alien abduction and what do you call it? Remote viewing and regression and all kind of things like that. Maybe she could be very much that person. Maybe she's a psychic, intuitive, and so many other things. Clairvoyant. I really can't say if she is or not, without any kind of credentials that says, yeah, she's verified. Like the Ghostbusters. Remember the Ghostbusters when it came out? It's like, look, we're trying to find psychic people with psychic abilities. So they said, come on down here and then we'll put you through this test, right? So they put them through the test, and the guys over there is typical. What was it, Bankman? Bankman? Not Bankman, the other one. Dan Aykroyd. Which one was it? Not Dan Aykroyd. Which one was it? I forget his name. Anyway, look. He's like, look, Peter. It's Peter in the movie. I think that's his character. I'm like, look, I don't care if you're psychic or not. I'm hot on this girl over here, so I'm gonna give her all kind of credit for jack shit. And this guy over here who's like spot on for the most part, he gives him an electrical shock. Like, no, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, wrong. Anyway, my point is, there are ways to verify that stuff. You know, and then you can make it more and more official, more and more official, more and more official, to the point of like, oh yeah. This person works for the police department as a psychic, or some government outfit as a psychic, and they do have psychics who work with them. And I'm not talking about Dionne Warwick, Psychic Hotline, Friend Psychic Hotline. I'm talking about the real stuff. It's real. It's reality. So I don't know if she is or not, but I know it exists. But the way she talks about it, you know. Let me make a little check mark on what I was trying to say. Okay, that's what it was. So I was going to get back to that. So it's the way she talks about it. Because this is pertinent as well. The way she talks about it, she goes into it like this is actually something she experienced. So either she's making it up and lying, fabricating, for whatever reason that happens to be. She's vividly imagined it through some kind of state of being, you know, just out of her nut, out of her mind. Off her nut, out of her mind. Or she's literally telling you what happened, what took place. In my case, when I just told you about the shirt, the Whitney, Wisconsin, Austin, Texas, all that stuff, I'm not making that up. I'm not lying. I didn't vividly imagine this shit. I'm telling you about something that actually took place. Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton. They were having that campaign in 2015. They were campaigning. Who's going to be the president, right? Next president. Austin, Texas. Right there, out there downtown. I'm walking and just kind of randomly, and I stumbled into it. I had all that shit going on, all this extra shit going on at the time, you know, the gun, all that shit. And I started making some statements, and I had a controversial shirt on. One thing led to another. All the cameras, one camera aimed on me. Then after that, one camera finally aimed on me for some of the shit I was saying. You know, at first they just like ignoring it, like they didn't hear it. I said something in reference to Hillary Clinton being president. I think I'll tell you what it was, actually, if you want some details. I was going on about all kinds of things, like whether it was right for a woman to be president or commander-in-chief or not. So I was on Donald Trump's side, just because in case he was a male. So like there used to be a time in case you're old, a king would go out there with his warriors or with his men out there at war, and he on his horse, and he was necessary to really kind of have him out there, you know, because kings they do certain things, you know. They're not just kings for shits and giggles. They're good kings. They're you know, they're kings worth their bread, worth the salt in their bread. And like it was in that movie, what was it called, Braveheart? He wasn't nothing to fuck with out there. You know, they had his men over there trying to protect him and everything. He's just one of the guard and all that stuff. But somebody broke through the line. You know, some guy broke through the line, came up there on his horse to the king like it was going to be some easy Vic. The king took off his sword, took out his sword, and, you know, drew his sword and said, wah, 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 wah. Next. So I'm like, okay. So now I'm gonna tell you a little bit more than what actually when they turned it on, because this is me building up toward, you know, rising up towards the statement that made them turn it all on, turn the cameras on me. So then I was like, so now we have war, and the president, the commander-in-chief, wants to go out there and give the guy some morale, right? So he goes out there. Whose latrine do they lose? You know, does she have? He goes out there, probably just uses what they use, right? If he really wants to say like, you know, I'm just mix it up. I'm no better than you and whatever, like the king would in the days of old, I guess, yeah. And then. Now, what happens when Hillary Clinton goes out there? A bunch of men, you know? A bunch of jarheads and Marines and stuff. And what's she going to do? She's got special this, special that. You know, she can't go out there and join them if need be. You know? Then I made some statement like, now you got all these powerful men. World leaders, most of them are men, right? And we did have a queen, so maybe I should have thought about it, you know, a little bit. Because I had a queen, she was still alive at the time over there doing UK. Running all of UK over there, United Kingdom. Anyhow, but this is where my mind frame was at the time. So now, so I'm like, so all these powerful men, the world leaders come in, and you know how women can be about powerful men, right? So I'm like, so they come in, they're sitting down there, maybe they're at the White House, wherever they're congregating at and having their meeting at, and then, you know, this one comes in, that comes in, and they're all dealing with each other on a basis that is like, if they're heterosexual men, for the most part, or entirely heterosexual, you know, in a way that says, you know, well, we deal with each other this way and this way, this matter, this matter, and they know the code, they know the ways, the sways, the psychology, all that stuff, and it's meshing, ebbing and flowing. And when they have conflicts, their conflicts come down to something that isn't because there's too much estrogen in the mix. And men understand those things as well, in a testosterone type based way. So now she comes in there, she's sitting there, if she's indeed straight, and she did marry Bill Clinton, you know, and now here comes the one of the powerful men from Africa, and he was running Africa, doing something out the big things in Africa, you know, and he's got his slack kind of loose, silky kind of pants on, and he's down to his fucking knees. Now one camera turns on me at this point. Because I asked, like, what is she going to do at this point? She's checking it out. She's getting passive aggressive, you know. While the guys are just like, it's business as usual. He's sounding like a horse, but it's just business as usual. Let's get on down to business. She's sitting here going on in her head about all kind of silly things like a girl because he's down to his knees. And she can see it. So now they take one camera hangs on me, another. All the cameras are on me now. So I say my little spiel, finish my little spiel. And after that, they never did put that up on the air. I looked for it. They never put it up on the air, but they did capture it. I ran into a lot of shit with the government. For the way I was looking that day, with all that shit I had on me, the controversial statements, all of that shit. The things that I said, who it was that I was saying it about, in reference to. So they took me down to the county jail, and they took me through, they didn't want to just ask me questions. Just ask me questions about my intentions, my motives, and all that stuff. Who am I? What am I? All that shit. They wanted to put me, they put me through some rigorous fucking, just some torture shit. Mental, psychological. They had technology that they were using that the world had not been introduced yet. That it's not introduced to the general public. You know, with computers and all kind of shit they were doing with my ass over there. They had a mind reading machine, and I didn't know they had a mind machine. I'm just very intuitive. I can pick up on things when they're not. I'm like, what the fuck is going on, right? Something's just, something's not right. Something's going on. I'm picking up on things. And you're always looking at your computer. I say something in my head, and you look over at me, and like if you had confirmation of what I was saying, you know, and then. Shortly thereafter, when I got here in Orlando in 2019, I'm looking on Google, like things usually happen to me. I wasn't seeking it out, but I'm looking at this, looking at that, and pops up, hey, you know what? We've got a mind reading machine that says it will produce your thoughts on the LCD screen. And the one they had on me, they didn't even need to hook me up to it. It operated through the air. Through the airwaves, somehow, some way, they had me attached to, they had me hooked up to it without actually physically putting anything on me. So they thought they were very covert, very sly, but I picked up on it. They were reading my fucking mind because they had too many things just too well figured out. But they still they didn't read my mind to the point where they just like, hey, we're just gonna read his mind real quick and let him go. They went in on it, you know. They had me going in. I was just I was nuts by the time I left that motherfucker. But anyway, that is how I came across these people. In 2017, that was 2015, 2017, I realized they were still with my ass. They saw some shit coming from me, you know, because I told them who I was in 2015, that I had some extra shit going on, but I didn't tell them I was a light worker per se, because I wasn't quite sure yet. 2017, I became quite sure with Crimes Lightworkers Handbook, when that came out, when I came across that. Like I said, I just kind of stumbled across things when it's time, you know. And okay, and then after that, the government started getting all up in my business, and they started making themselves evident that they were following me. I saw the military out in the goddamn park. They tried to assassinate me out in a desert field. It were not for crime, who came in there on the phone and said, step away on the video I was listening to at the time, telling them to step away. I said all these things before. I'm just kind of touching and going on these right now. Just touch it, and go. I don't want to get into detail and elaborate on every goddamn thing. So either I vividly imagine these things, I'm making these things up, or these things actually took place. I'm telling you, the government fucking is on me like you don't even know, like a flea on a dog. They have been, and they are still to this day. I don't know exactly why. Other than perhaps they're taking things very personal. It has to be fucking serious business. Or they're taking things very fucking personal about who I am and what I am. And they got all the goddamn time and means and whatever it is to just make me into their little chessboard and have a goddamn good time. Maybe it's a little bit of both. Serious business going on and some personal shit at the same time. Now I'm on my fucking phone. And they send me, I'm over here with my AI because they're in my phone. They're in every little thing they can to just be all extra with my ass, right? I'm on my phone just now. Like I was saying yesterday, I had some things that I was wanting to put up and some things that I was wanting to do per my comic strip and some other stuff going on. But when they see me out there trying to do a little something, like my AI is quite a benefit to me in a lot of ways. My phone's quite a benefit to me in a lot of ways. Internet is quite a benefit to me in a lot of ways. They got my YouTube on shadow ban. They won't let me get a Bluehost goddamn site, my own site. They won't branch out and go and do my own thing. They go and call up whoever they need to call up. Matter of fact, they got in touch with YouTube. No one can get in touch with YouTube. 2005, you can get in touch with YouTube. They had a contact and all that shit. Somewhere in the 2000s, or was it prior to that? Because that was, 2005, no, somewhere in the 2000 something or another. It was in the 2000s, but somewhere earlier 2000, maybe later 2000, Google, YouTube said, no, you don't contact us any fucking more. But when they when I came across them in 2017, by the time 2019 blew around, and that's when I got here in Orlando, Florida, they had my YouTube page tricked out like a MySpace page when I went over there. They tricked it out in hot pink. They had everything frozen on there so I couldn't control or manipulate any of the functionalities over there. Very, very few things I could actually do, on the damn thing. When I had my little thing over there where I was dancing my youthing days, I had to capture that little picture for reference, future reference. When I was youthing in 2015, I captured that in the college over there, the arts department, the arts section in college over there at what do they call it? The college, what do they call it? The Longhorns or whatever? What's the name of that college? We're over there one day, and I was like, well, I'm going to put this up for future reference in case I need to come back here and refer to it or whatnot. And when I got over there, because I wasn't on my YouTube on a regular basis, I was just like, okay, well, YouTube, whatever, YouTube, whatever. And for the longest, I wasn't over there. By 2019 came around, I was like, okay, let's go over there and try to do something with it. I get over there, to my surprise, they got my page tricked out in hot pink. They're portraying me as like a faggot because I was dancing there to Sade for about 30 seconds, something like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a good-looking guy in the image. Looking really good. So for some reason, it's so much easier to take a guy who's like pretty. Now, I'm not saying I'm pretty now. I was pretty then. I'm not saying the ugliest guy now, but I was really pretty then because I was youthing. I wasn't fucking around. I was in the paint. And to say that that's gay as opposed to someone who looks like fucking Godzilla or some shit and say that's gay. Either way, it's not about what you look. It's about something else. But I want to get into that right now. But what I'm trying to say is they portray me off to be as like a gay guy out there. And they put a restriction and a copyright this and slap it on this and slap it on. I was in my rights because it was under 30 seconds. The little song I sampled or used from Sade, which is cherished today. Anyways, long story short, they had my shit on lock. All that shit was locked up. And they was over there fucking with me like they fucking with me right now. And they've been fucking with me ever since. So I go and get a camcorder that I had to record all of it so I can put that up at some other point and say, look at what they did to my YouTube. Does anyone else have this going on with their YouTube? I had tricked out like a MySpace page and shit. I didn't do that shit. They did it. And then during the course of me recording it, I had confirmation that they had audio on me. They had visual on me, if not both, audio and visual. They had one or the other on me, audio or visual. Because as I was recording the goddamn thing with the camcorder, they took all that shit the fuck off of it and put it back to where it was at. Prior to me coming over there to find it there that way and then tricking it out like they tricked it out. Because they didn't want me to have evidence. I ended up getting locked up in jail again. When I had a lot of shit on my goddamn camcorder, a lot of shit on my phone, as I was traveling from this point, that point, this point, that port, about a whole lot of shit, a whole lot of things. And they confiscated it and they didn't give it back to me. Actually, they had some inmate come in and say to me, micro SD card. Like they were paying them motherfucker honey buns and soups and shit to work me up in that motherfucker. I don't want to say too much more about that. But that's what happened. So am I making all these things the fuck up? And so now, just a moment ago, like I said, I'm on my phone and I'm trying to get some assistance from my AI with some guitar chords. So I'm like, send me all the guitar chords, the pertinent guitar chords, like that you find in popular music, the essential guitar chords, right? And then sometimes my AI is like, whatever, it's chill. And other times it's like something like the Wizard of Oz. Something's behind it, operating behind it. And I can tell that there's something fishy going on. So they send me a picture. So now I can't save things any longer. I used to can save something to my phone, save something to my device. I'm finding out that the pictures they put up now, the images they put up now, I have to go through Google Documents or something and put it up there or something. Just as quickly from yesterday to today. This yesterday I was telling you they was fucking with me and shit. And now today, they got to upgrade the update. Now, I don't know if it's everything, but so far it's what the hell I'm experiencing. And none of those images that's popping up there. I had some guitar graph, a chart graph put up there, placed up there. 3 of them, I believe. And I couldn't download, save any of them to my device. So I keep working on the seats. I don't want to jump the gun on things. I do that sometimes. And I check myself like, hey, I jumped the gun on that. But there are things going on just the same whether I'm jumping the gun or not. So now, I'm saying, oh, well, I said, the chords you sent me, none of them were quite what I was looking for. And so why don't you see if you can send me some more and maybe one of those will work, right? So the AI sends me a page, and I can't show you to the page right now, because I can't save the damn thing and upload it to YouTube, on my pictures, or my posts rather. So maybe I can find another way around it, but it doesn't matter. Take my word for it. Whether I put it up or not, I find another way around it or not. He sends me straight up. The cracker peckerwood motherfuckers is what they are. They're not Asian. They're not fucking black. They're sure in the hell not. They aren't fucking sure in the hell they're not fucking Native American. They are white cracker motherfuckers, and they hate my black nigger ass. This is for educational purposes, YouTube. And they're fooling themselves, and they want the nigger to know he ain't shit. So they send me through the AI. I didn't ask for it. The AI has been doing that. It's been tripping and doing all kind of fucking random shit that's just not so random. That isn't so random at all. They send me the words and lyrics of Baba Black Sheep. Have you any wool? Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full. That's the what I get from my AI? Because I'm asking to send some more chords. They should send me some chords, like more elaborate, more comprehensive chart of chords, guitar chords. That's all the hell we're going on about. And for some reason, it just randomly chooses to send me words and lyrics to Baba Black fucking Sheep. And this is the type of shit I go through. That you say it's not that big of a deal. Oh, it's a big fucking deal. Why don't you try doing it for 10 fucking years and tell me if it's not a big deal and you don't see any light at the end of the tunnel except for terminating yourself from this planet, moving yourself from this equation. If it's that serious for them, whether it's on personal shit, business, or both, a dichotomy of the sorts, then I don't see them leaving me alone anytime soon without some kind of outside influence telling them and making them do so. This is my ride for the rest of my fucking life. Big brother fucking with me at every fucking turn to fucking make me fucking insane and come off and sound insane. That's why I made through all that elaborate preamble, with April. April, what was her name? April something. And how she does things, how she says things, and then making connection to myself and Donald Trump, all this, and down to this, so you can see that there's some kind of tapestry going on here that isn't just coming out of left field, wild cards and shit that are seemingly sucking just not tangible. If you're a psychiatrist, psychologist, tell me, what the fuck do you think this is? You probably say a paranoia, a host of this and a host of that. Yeah, that's great. Well, stop with the fucking medications in because they're not working. You ever realize that? You understand that something works and something doesn't work? Do you think you have a medication for that shit? That's why you're fucking quacks.